what's actually happening with this Google update? I mean, I know what Google said they were doing, but I'm not sure that's actually what they're doing. And I feel like something else is actually going on. So I'm getting full on into conspiracy mode here. I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts on what I think may actually be going on here. And I'll be curious from you all. Leave this stuff in the comments. What is your thought? What is your current conspiracy theory that feels less like a conspiracy theory and more like maybe a real possibility? Tell me in the comments below. Also, tell me if I'm crazy. If you don't know, my name's Rob. I'm just some idiot that likes talking about blogging and SEO. I'm semi-handsome, and I may or may not know what I'm talking about in regards to these things. If that's your thing, if you like hearing bozos blab about things they may or may not understand, and being semi-handsome, I'm your guy. Hit subscribe, hit like. I want to share with you a couple of pieces of data, and I've shown you these things a few times before just to give you some insight into my website and where it's currently at based off of where it came from. Let me actually jump over real quick to the GSC. Here was my life before the HCU on this particular day. 1,900 clicks, 80,000 impressions. Yesterday, I had 35 clicks, 569 impressions. As you can guess, that's not good. That's what they would call stinks. And let's see here. Let's jump over to my analytics. I'm continuing to watch this on any given day. I can't break past like the 10 mark on this number. It used to be at the low 25. Now it's typically between 0 and like 6. I'm seeing no trends happening here whatsoever. Really kind of leveled out down here in the pits of hell. My Ahrefs dashboard. This number right here, my organic search keywords in the top 3 used to be over 1,000 before the HCU. Now it's 3. This number here, the total organic keywords used to be over 30,000. As you can see, it's absolute fart noise. Strangely, my DR went up here over the last couple days by 1 for no reason and having absolutely 0 impact whatsoever. I want to share with you one thing I thought was really interesting that besides the fact that everything is red, I'm not having a single new updated keyword that is green, but look at the big numbers happening here in these drops. This is very different from what I saw in the HCU. During the HCU, these numbers were slower. It seemed like 5, 6. It seems like they eked down more so, even though the chart looks like it didn't eke down. I mean, there's the chart. But on the Ahrefs thing, they eked. I saw 4, 6, 5. No, really big. This is very, very different. This is a major slam out of these keywords, not just removing them from the top 10, but major move drops. But of course, like I said, no green here whatsoever. And as you saw a second ago, the SEMrush volatility finally popped at a 9, but here it's kind of been just in this mid-range. Even though this is supposed to be high, it's really been mid-range. And that's the first thing that I want to talk about is one of the things that Google said when they rolled these updates out, which, by the way, obviously spam is done, and who gives a flying fart about that? Seems to really not have done anything. Spam sites are still winning, and porn sites are still winning, so I feel like they blew that one. Some obviously did get hit. There were reports of some big sites getting tanked that were spam, but it didn't eliminate spam, and it seems to really not have made much of a dent. And so the core part of that and the now new HCU part of that and the couple of things they were trying, remember, they're like, well, buckle up. It's going to be volatile. There's going to be a lot of up and a lot of down, whatever. And I'm telling you, I just haven't seen the volatility even through this. Like you could see it sort of popped here and then it was a 9 and then jumped up here to an 8, but there's been a lot more sort of this mid-tier volatility, and it's just not having much of an impact. So part of me is just going like, well, what were you talking about? Like, what did you think the volatility was going to come in at? So it'll be interesting to see if this 9.2 ends up being an indicator of what's going to come over the course of the next week or so, based off of what I'm thinking is going to happen. I've got a conspiracy theory related to this. Let's get into that one first. Let's talk about that. So the lack of volatility, I felt, had more to do with them pulling out more niche sites over the course of the last couple of weeks and not anything really moving up, nothing being really boosted. Yes, some stuff went up, but it's because stuff lost. I feel like there was more losing going on the first couple of weeks. My first conspiracy theory, and by the way, I don't think this is actually going to happen, is that the HCU set in September of last year set the stage for what is happening right now. And these niche sites that are now being extracted from the SERPs, not just losing position, but essentially extracted, are an attempt to reset the quality of niche sites. In other words, like if they wanted to award or reward niche sites that were good, it was getting very difficult because of all of the spam and AI that was mixed into there, the bulk AI. I'm talking spam AI, not just AI. It was hard for them to determine what was quality or not. And that in order for them to reestablish quality niche sites, they actually had to pull all of it out. So that's my first conspiracy theory, is that the lack of volatility has been them removing niche sites, and that here on the last half of this rollout, we're going to see high volatility. And I said this just a couple of days ago before this 9.2 popped, and we're going to see the return of niche sites to some degree. Now, I don't think they're going to come back to pre-HCU level, but some sort of footprint, some sort of sign or signal that there is still some life in there. Again, that's probably my least favorite conspiracy theory, but it sort of makes sense to me in line with the lack of volatility that we've seen. If we trust Google that volatility is supposed to happen, well, if it's going to happen, it has to happen on this last half, and that means something's going to go up and something's going to go down. I'm wondering if it's going to be the niche sites and that there was a purpose behind pulling all those niche sites out. But yeah, major lack of volatility despite what Google has said. My next conspiracy theory I want to talk about is that, one of the things that as a niche blogger that I think that a lot of us assumed was that Google was our playground. And whenever Google said something in relation to whenever they would release stuff, it was meant for us as niche bloggers or anybody that was using Google. So I'm at this point with this new conspiracy theory where I'm asking myself, well, what if what they are saying actually is not intended for niche bloggers at all? We think that it is because it has been in the past. We've been able to utilize and essentially use what Google has said to manipulate rankings and do different things to write and then try to cause things to rank. But now I'm just looking at it because we're seeing no reward for niche sites whatsoever, despite the fact, as a lot of you had pointed out, we're doing what Google says as well as we can possibly do, or as well as we can read between the lines. What if it's not even meant for us? What if they're not even talking to us? We just think that they are because they had been in the past. What if Google broke up with us and didn't just come flat out and tell us? That was actually a tweet that I made last week. And I was just like, it just seems like this is a relationship where one person doesn't have the balls to tell the other that it's actually over, but it's over. And the only way that you know is by the behavior of the one who is thinking that it's over. So that's my second conspiracy theory here, is that they actually broke up with us during the HCU. They just don't have the nuts to come out and actually say that they did it for whatever reason. Maybe, you know what? It might be because they don't owe us an explanation. I mean, Google never owed us anything anyways. We just assumed that they did because we worked hard. But Google didn't owe us anything because we worked hard. Yes, did they possibly scan our websites and use it for SGE results? Yeah, maybe. But we came into this knowing that Google doesn't owe us anything. We're using their resources to further our own websites and our traffic purposes, etc. So that's my second conspiracy theory, that we've been dumped and we just don't realize that we've been dumped yet. It's that part is a bit depressing because that just basically means that we do indeed need to move on. Of course, it's hard when you think that you still have a chance with that ex that treated you so well for a little bit, and then you look into the future and you're like, man, that seems lonely and dark, but maybe that's what it is. And you know what? Those times come and they pass, and you're able to regroup and move forward. There are a lot of people right now that are on X that are just absolutely bashing Google. This is one of probably the worst that I have seen, from the top SEO voices to no names like myself that really sort of seem to be generally on board with the fact that things are just more broken now than they were before. And I think that's because there is still a lot of anger over the fact that Google just can't seem to get their ducks in a row. And I think that more people are losing than they're actually willing to admit. You're seeing a lot less of the high horse SEO voice right now on Twitter or X, because I think a lot of them are getting hit, or they're fearful of getting hit because they also don't trust the algorithms that have been released, and they don't trust that they won't get hit. Because look, even deserving sites have been hit during this. There's a lot of talk on that of there's a really good shoe website. I can't think of the name of it, but you'll see it on Twitter if you do some sneaking. If you go peeking around, that's not even the right word. Piss. If you look around a little bit, you'll see people are getting hit that shouldn't be getting hit. So, my last conspiracy theory is this: is Google had said at some point that the site-wide classifier that was slapped onto websites like mine during the HCU this is before this current update, could be removed at any time, even in between updates, if the website came back and visited your site and saw that whatever caused the classifier to be placed was fixed. And then this update came out, and it seems like they moved away from the notion of the site-wide classifier, and it seems to be more relatable or related to page-specific or article-specific classifiers, which is good news, except they also said something about, well, the best chance to actually recover is during an update. And so my last conspiracy theory is that they are telling us things, that Google is telling us random things in order to essentially stave off the riots, to basically, because they don't want to deal with legitimate questions. And it's easier to just say, well, just wait this thing out. You know, whenever you say, well, you could recover anytime. Well, how long do you wait for any time before you start throwing a fit? That's a very safe and soft thing to say. Like, well, it could happen at any time. Just keep trying, right? With this one to say, well, you can recover after any update. Well, any update could be any update. Is it this one? If not, well, maybe I'll just wait till the next one and see how that goes before I start griping at Google about this. The fact that they have changed the rules between this update and the last update, the fact that they are saying different things as far as what could be true and what is not true, the fact that they still keep going back to soft answers like writing for people and non-specifics as far as what Google is actually after. To me, this all feels like stall tactics with no end in sight, because I think that, A, they don't have a grasp on what they're actually doing. I think that their developers have absolutely blown this update and the last update. But two, it's because it's just easier just to keep pushing people off and not have to deal with it. If you can get somebody to wait before they gripe and get them to keep waiting, like, that's just a win in your book. So I don't know what the answer is here. I know that a lot of you that watch my channel, you came here because you got hit by the first HCU and we're all wallowing in the misery sort of together. I'm going to tell you what I actually have been doing, though, is I still have faith in the process to some degree, so much so that I actually started a new niche site. I started a new site about the Amazon Influencer Program because I'll be in it just almost a year now. I've done very well in it. And so I just started writing articles about it because I like to, and I know what it's something that I'm familiar with. And I just started to do it just to see what would happen. I do still feel like there's an opportunity with niche sites. I do see some cracks in currently what's going on. There are still some niche sites that are ranking. There are still some low DR sites that are ranking. They might have just slipped through the cracks, but there's still a little bit of hope because of that out there. So I'm still writing. I'm still working on my current website too, the health and fitness one. I'm not writing as many articles, but I'm still working on different parts of the UX and things. So, like, I'm still touching the stuff. I'm still fondling. I'm still giving it a little bit of a hoo-hoo. You know what I mean? And, like, we'll see what happens. Whenever I started to do this, whenever I started blogging, it was a door that opened that I was not familiar with. It was a new door, and it won't be the last door. There will be other doors that open up. I just don't think this one's closed all the way yet, but it doesn't make sense. What's happening doesn't make sense. It's easy to theorize, but I just don't think that the door is closed. And if nothing else, it'll lead to another door that we can walk through and try. So that's it. Thanks again so much for watching, everybody. Just a couple of conspiracies that throw your way. Let me know what you think down below. Tell me what you think. Is Google, have they broke up with us? Or maybe they're still trying to figure it out and they just don't know what they actually want. Maybe we're the right thing for them. Maybe they won't know what they've got till it's gone. Boy, that's a good phrase. That's something people should say, right? That'd be a good saying for people. You don't know what you got till it's gone. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I made that up. Use it if you want. Put my name underneath it and a line in front. That's it. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Peace out.